Hello again. My name is John and I am a nobody. Today I'd like to try something difficult. I'd like to try to describe what it was like to be in Berlin while the wall was still in place. So it's important to remember that Berlin was not the capital of Germany back then. We're talking about the 90s. Berlin was in fact, well, the 80s in fact, but Berlin was a city which was officially not part of Germany. It belonged to the four allies, the four sectors, the Americans, the British, the French, and the Russians. And the capital of West Germany was, at that time, Bonn. We were very excited when we went to Berlin for the first time. We were very young and very stupid and naive. And to get into Berlin was actually quite difficult. You had to use a so-called transit road, which we christened the Ford Transit Road, of course. So you had to pass a checkpoint, and then you had to go down onto the transit road itself, which was often in a very bad state of repair, so you couldn't drive very fast. And there were a lot of Volkspolizei, people's police cars parked to check if you were speeding, because that meant money for them. You could also encounter people who were begging you to take them to West Germany, but these were often plants by the East Germans, because if you got caught with one of those people in your vehicle, you had to pay like a ransom, where you get sent to jail, and then you'd have to pay a ransom to get out of jail, also cash. They had restaurants at the side of the transit road, which were, for us, musicians, young and penniless, amazingly cheap. You know, a person could afford to buy the whole menu, even if he didn't have much money, or she. Then you got to the second transit control point, which was the really serious one. So then you had to show your passport, obviously. They looked at it, and it went on a little conveyor belt, a little thin conveyor belt, and went down to be checked by somebody else. You had people running around with mirrors on wheels, checking the underside of your vehicle for people who were trying to escape. And it was very much like the Third Reich black and white film. You know, you had barking dogs and men strolling up and down with lots of leather on, big boots, and, you know, obviously, you know, Kalashnikovs occasionally, barbed wire, you know, fences, the whole thing. And then you got into one of the sectors, and with us it was Charlottenburg, which was under the English, or the British. You get wished, you know, have a lovely day by this military policeman from Britain, and then you would be in West Germany proper. And the first thing that we saw, I remember, was the Funkturm, which we rechristened the Funk Tower, because we were really into funk at that time. Most people were not, you know, most Brits were still into Yes or whatever, and a lot of Germans were into the kind of hippie music, but we were into the meters and stuff like that. The first place we played was Quartier Latin, which was a strange name for a club. It was a big place, and they had a nice hotel where they put us up, but it seemed very old-fashioned to us. There was a bathroom, had a bath, but no taps, and very ornate legs to it. And I asked the man at reception if I could have a bath, because I'm British and we like to have a bath in filthy water. And so he walked up the stairs with these two pails of water, you know, these two buckets full of hot water, until he got the bath full. and it took him for ages, and I spent quite a time in there. I don't know how they emptied the bath, I don't know. And everything was new and exciting for us, and quite amazing. We went to Alexanderplatz, I think, the big square in the middle of East Berlin. We had to cross then what is now a tourist attraction, but then was just, Checkpoint Charlie. And we got a magazine confiscated. Well, it was a magazine about drumming, people hitting animal skins and bits of wood, something they've been doing for thousands and thousands of years, but for some obscure reason we got that confiscated. We went to a restaurant there, a huge place, which was completely empty, so we chose a table. We were about to order, we were trying to understand the German menus, and this waitress came over and said, "No, I'm sorry, you'll have to go because we are full." Well, we were wearing leather jackets and jeans and stuff, and cowboy boots probably, and it was obvious that we were not welcome. Now, I would like to say that it's important not to label everybody with the same brush, not to paint everybody with the same brush. And I know a lot of really, really nice East Germans. And, would we have been any different? I don't know. Probably not. The government tells you to do something genuine, most of us do it, even if we don't want to. And it was no different in those days. So that's what it was like. And it was something else visiting Berlin in the old days, I can tell you. And something that I wanted to share with you. So have a good one. Take care of yourself and those you love. And hope to see you in the next one. Write a comment if you want, it doesn't cost anything and nobody's going to arrest you. And as always, thanks very much, and Tschüssikowski.